So today's topic, something a little different I haven't done before. This is an idea I got from another fellow YouTuber and fellow Minnesotan. His name is Wyatt, Wyatt's World. I'll link him in the description of this page. So thanks to him for this idea. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I'm going to do a tier list of my favorite whatever. And this is going to be the start of many things to come. And for the first one, we're going to do a tier list of my favorite Michael Jackson albums. Everybody that follows my channel, anybody that knows me in my personal life knows I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I love his music. So I've done a tier list of his albums, and I'm ranking them from my personal favorite, from an A grade to F. A, B, C, D, F. And then there's going to be another section which you're going to see here shortly. And this is all his music from when he was a kid in his Motown days to all the posthumous albums released after his death. So, without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so here's the tier, and here's the list of the albums that's in his career. Now, these are albums that include original material, so there's no greatest hits in there, with the exception of History, which was a double CD, but it included new music, so we're just going to ignore that. So I have A, B, C, D, E, F, and I have Motown. Now, me personally, I believe Michael's solo career did not begin until 1979, Off the Wall, his first adult solo album. A lot of people, and his record label back in Motown says it started in Motown, and I kind of think there's a fine gray area there. A lot of his music from back in the Motown days featured his brothers on backup vocals, so I just consider it J5 stuff. So that's a personal thing. If you don't agree with that, that's up to you. If you don't like how I do this, make your own tier. Let's see what you can do. So anything Motown, I'm going to put in the Motown category. So pretty much the one, this one, this one. So now we have all the solo albums, and we're gonna go these in order of how they were released. I don't know why this is set up this way. We're gonna do it that way. Okay, so this is gonna be my tier of how I rank these albums, and this is just a personal thing. This is by the book. This is just me personally, what I like, the videos that came from it, and just personal. So let's start with the very first one, 1979, Off the Wall. Michael's first album with Quincy Jones. It's a great album from first track, Don't Stop Digging Enough, to the last one, Burn This Disco Out. It's got a lot of good songs on it. A couple songs that are a little meh. I think my personal favorite on this album, I love the song Stevie Wonder wrote for him, I Can't Help It. I think it would have been a great single, would have had a great video. It was a great time period, 79, 80s, 81 era. It's a great album. I think it's one of his better ones. I think for a debut solo album, it's a solid B. It's in my top 5. It's in my top 3. But I think for a starter solo album for his adult career, that was a good start. Next on the list, Thriller, the biggest selling album of all time, one of the biggest albums in music history, the biggest album in music history. To this day has sold over 100 million copies worldwide, has great videos, great songs. Personally, I think it's overplayed. It's a great album, but I would rank it, it's good. I would rank it alongside Thriller, Off the Wall. A lot of people are going to disagree, but I personally think it's overplayed, especially on radio. Thriller's good, Beat It, Billie Jean, Human Nature. Want to be starting something good. I think Lady of My Life, there's a longer version of that's not on the album. The song was cut down because of time constraints. Back in those days, they didn't have CD players. It was only album, vinyl, and cassette. So the full version of Lady of My Life is beautiful. If it was on that album, I think it would have been great. I think they should have re-released it as on CD as a longer version. The 25th anniversary release had remakes of classic songs and one new one in America, For All Time, which is not a Thriller track. It's actually was made during Dangerous, but for some reason they put it on the Thriller 25, whatever. And then overseas they had another song on there on the Japanese version that's pretty good. I can't remember the name of the song. I think it's called Got the Hots, which is good. On the 2001 special edition releases, they had the infamous third verse or lost verse of Thriller with Vincent Price, pretty good. And they had originally released on the 2001 version Someone in the Dark, which was for the E.T. storybook, which was done after Thriller for the E.T. movie. And then another song called Carousel, which the full version is online. The very edited down version was released on the 2001 version, another good song. So that's on Thriller 2001. But overall, Thriller, it's a great album, but I think it's just a little bit overplayed. But it's still a good album nonetheless. Now, the follow-up to Thriller is Bad. At the one point, was the second biggest selling album of all time, but then other albums have come along since then and have outsold it. The only album in history to generate 5 number one songs off one album. I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Bad, Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, Dirty Diana. Smooth Criminal almost made it, but I think it barely made the top 10. But nonetheless, a great album. I consider Bad one of his better albums. I think it's better than Thriller. I mean, it's got 5 number ones for crying out loud. So I rank that as an A. And Michael had a great tour. It was one of his biggest selling tours, and by far, I think it's superior to Thriller. And the Bad 25 release a few years ago saw a triple set release of the second CD was unreleased material from the Bad sessions, and then the third CD was a live concert CD of his performance in Wembley Arena in Great Britain during the Bad tour. Originally, Michael wanted to release this as a double album, but Quincy Jones talked him down to cutting it down. Left a lot of good songs off the album, including Streetwalker, Price of Fame, I'm So Blue, songs like that were featured on the special edition 25th anniversary, and Fly Away, a song he wrote and recorded but didn't release on the original album, which ended up going to his oldest sister, Rebe. She recorded that and released it. It's a beautiful song, but a lot of great songs from the Bad era on the 25th anniversary and the special edition 2001. And so Bad's always been one of my favorites, and I rank it higher than Thriller. It's definitely an A. Now we come to Dangerous. This is as everybody knows my channel. Dangerous is my all-time favorite Michael Jackson album. It is just a great album. It's the first album he did without Quincy. First album he released 14 songs on one album. This to me is a storybook song. He could have released a video and for each song. Each song tells a story and flows into one another very well. There isn't really a weak spot. You could probably replace a couple songs on it, but I think this album, the way it was released, is perfect. It has the best music videos by far of all of Michael's albums released. Has the best set of music videos. You got Black or White, Remember the Time, In the Closet, Jam, Who Is It, Give In to Me, Will You Be There. So many good music videos, so many memorable, iconic videos, especially the first two, Black or White and Remember the Time. This, to me, is Michael's peak and one of his greatest albums of all time. I actually would rank this before Bad. This was my number one personally, and I think it is very underrated and doesn't deserve the respect and recognition it truly deserves. Dangerous, in my opinion, is Michael's greatest album ever. Even better than Thriller. Next up, History, Past, Present, Future, Book 1. This was Michael's first album after the first set of allegations against him. This is a very personal, very dark album. This is the first time we hear Michael swearing, besides Dangerous, where he says damn. Michael drops an S-bomb 2 times in a song called This Time Around, drops the F-bomb in Scream with his sister Janet. This is a very angry album. This is a double album. The first CD features 15 greatest hits from his previous 4 albums. And then the second CD features 15 new songs, 14 new songs. One song, Come Together, was put on the second CD, which was actually done during the bad sessions, but it was put on this. This is a great album. I would rank this definitely in the top 3-ish. I would put this like right there. Next up, we have Blood on a Dance Floor. This was released 96, 97. 5 songs left off the Dangerous and History sessions, and then they had a whole bunch of remixes from the History album. And this was one of Michael's worst selling albums of all time, but yet it is the biggest selling remix album of all time by any artist. Michael originally wanted just the first 5 original tracks to be released as an EP. Sony talked him into the remixes. He didn't want it, but they did it anyways. Outside of the 5 original songs are good. The remixes, not so much in my opinion. I think Scream Louder is the only good remix on this album, and the rest are just crap. So personally, I'm not a fan of this album. I'm going to rank this, I give it a D. Next album, we have Invincible. This is Michael's long-awaited comeback. This was originally going to be released in 99 and then 2000, then pushed back to 2001. Too many cooks in the kitchen on this album. Too many songs that sound so much alike. It just seemed like Michael was following trends instead of setting them. Just a lot of 16 tracks just picked up and thrown together. And there's a lot of unreleased stuff from this sessions that came out since then and are also out on the internet that haven't been released yet on compilations or the 2 posthumous albums. A lot of good songs that could have been on this album, and the album could have done a lot better. This was Michael's final studio album before his passing of new material, and this was the one where he feuded with Sony. He told Sony he was not going to renew his contract. They stopped promoting the album. They didn't promote any tours or videos for it, and so it just kind of went nowhere. There was only 2 music videos released from this album, You Rock My World and Cry, and they were lackluster. Personally, I think the album had too many cooks in the kitchen, way too many producers. Rodney Jerkins was the main one. And I personally think he's overrated. I don't like his music. He's got a couple good songs here on this album, and he's done some other songs with Michael that are not on this album that I think should have been on the album. But overall, I just think Michael could have done a lot better. I'm going to have to rank this. It's better than Blood on the Dance Floor, but it's not better than any of the 2 up here. I'm going to give it a C. Next one is a controversial one, the Michael album. This is the first album released posthumously after his death. Features 10 songs, 3 of which are under scrutiny of not being his vocals. And my opinion is 2 of the songs that are under controversy, Keep Your Head Up and Monster, you can hear Michael's vocals on them, but it sounds like somebody went in there and kind of finished the track. Michael didn't finish it, so they had somebody else come in there singing like Michael to finish the track. The other song, Breaking News, the one that really made shit hit the fan, does not sound like Michael at all. It's something that Michael would not do. And that whole controversy just brought this whole album down. If they had just taken the 3 songs off and put them with other songs that appear like on the next album we're going to talk about, or any of the unreleased songs that are still out there, it would have been a better hit. But because of the controversy and the fact that Sony and the estate are still standing by this album, and those 3 tracks is a slap to the face of Michael's legacy. So for that, Michael album gets an F. And that's until they fix and admit, yes, we were wrong about these songs. Last but not least, we have the Escape album. They got it right with this one. They did this the way they should have did it with the Michael album. The original, it features contemporized versions of songs that Michael worked on before his death and way back, and it's when he first started recording. And so they released contemporized versions of it, and then they released on the same album the original versions of those songs. And I think it was a great idea. Some of the songs that made the album, there was different versions of them. There was 3 songs that had different versions of them that leaked in 2010. Do You Know Who Your Children Are, Blue Gangster, and Slave to the Rhythm all had different versions that were leaked in 2010 that could have been on the Michael album, but they didn't get put on that album. And then when this album came out, those leaked versions didn't get put on the Escape album. Also, there's a song called Chicago on this album, which was originally titled She Was Loving Me. There's 3 versions of that. There's the contemporized version, which sounds like there's ducks quacking in the background. My daughter Lily loves it. There's Michael's original, and then there's a rock version. And me personally, when I hear the rock version, I think that's the way that Michael was going for Chicago. She Was Loving Me. The way you can hear Michael singing his gritty vocals, I think that song was meant to be a rock song, and the way that his nephew from 3T is the one that produced the rock version of that song and leaked it, and everybody, most of the fans love it. So I think that version should have been on that album instead of the contemporized quack quack version. But they got it right on this album. They released a lot of songs that were done from Bad era to before Michael died. There was one song before the Bad era. It was around Thriller, Off the Wall. Michael was working with Paul Anka called Love Never Felt So Good. The original was just Michael singing with a piano. Anka's playing piano. Michael's just singing and snapping his feet. There's fingers in his feet. I never liked it. It was leaked years ago. I hated it. I just thought it was so boring, so blah. It's just boring. And then the producers for this album came in and totally finished the song, added so many things and sounds, and it sounds like a whole different song. It actually sounds really good. And so it's a good, the way they finished the song, that route is the way they should do future Michael Jackson songs for contemporizing. And then they did a duet with Justin Timberlake, and they added same thing. They added just different sounds and made it sound 21st century, and they added a little flair of the 70s, a little percussions and some bottles and stuff in the background. It felt like something updated from Off the Wall. I really like it. So I think they did a good job for this. I'm going to rank Escape. I mean, compared to Invincible, I thought I like more tracks off Invincible because there's a lot of good songs on there. There's a lot of duds. So I'm gonna put it up here as far as the posthumous MJ releases. It's better than Michael album. I would actually rank this as A. If I'm ranking posthumous releases, that would be A minus. Posthumous release Bad 25 would be my top one, I would think, right now. So that's it. Dangerous, Bad, and History would be my 3 favorite top A's, and then Off the Wall, Bad, Invincible, Escape, the Blood on the Dance Floor, and then the Michael album, and then the Motown stuff. So that's my ranking for Michael Jackson albums. I'm going to do another one of these for other things too. It not necessarily going to be music, could be movies, could be drinks, whatever. So hopefully you guys like this, and until next time, peace out.